They warned that a day would come when the enemies of Africa would be desperate enough to attempt anything, to forge any paper, to stamp any seal, to write any so-called law, all in an effort to break the spirit of a free man. That day has arrived, and it carries the name of Judge Thomas. They call it an arrest warrant. I call it a sheet, drenched in arrogance, written in the blood of hypocrisy, and signed with the shaking hand of a coward hiding beneath a robe. They believe that because they have built courts with marble floors, stocked shelves with books of their laws, and staged a theater of justice in their language, they can command the sons and daughters of Africa like herds of cattle. They imagine that their ink can chain my voice, that their signature can bind my spirit, that their summons can bring the will of my people to its knees. They are mistaken. They have always been mistaken. They will perish mistaken. Judge Thomas, I will speak directly to you, for I am not the sort of man who hides behind advisors or filters his words through lawyers. I have no need for interpreters to soften my message, no use for spokesmen to dilute my truth. My voice is my own, and it carries the weight of millions who have walked through the fire beside me. You have issued an arrest warrant for me, believing it should matter, believing that this document you signed would bend my back, lower my head, and fasten chains to my feet. But you have miscalculated. You have misread the man before you. Do you truly believe I know fear? Tell me, on what grounds do you think fear dwells in me? Fear belongs to those who cling to unearned gains. Fear belongs to those whose power was placed in their hands by others. Fear belongs to those who stand upon thrones built on the broken backs of the poor. I was not handed power. I accepted responsibility. I was not gifted leadership. I answered when my people cried for help. Fear is a luxury reserved for men who have never stared death in the face. I am not such a man. Do you truly believe that a man who has stood against terrorists trained, financed, and armed by the very powers that proclaim justice, would be moved by a paper bearing your name? Do you believe that a man who has walked through villages emptied by war, who has looked into the eyes of mothers holding the still bodies of their children, who has stood at the graves of friends whose only crime was the defense of their homeland, could tremble because you dragged a pen across a document in a foreign office? You insult not only me, but the very essence of courage. I have stood before tanks, Judge Thomas. I have listened to the metallic rattle of machine guns aimed at my chest. I have walked through the smoke of explosions that roared like furious gods. I have stood in the suffocating silence after battle, counting the living while feeling the weight of the dead. In that silence, I did not feel fear. I felt duty. I felt a burning rage against injustice. I felt the unshakable certainty that if I did not rise, no one would. No, Judge Thomas, I am not the offspring of your system. Your system is built on suits and boardrooms, whispers in corridors, secret deals over wine and cigars. Your system produces men who have never carried water from a river, never planted seeds in parched soil, never chosen between eating themselves or feeding their child. I am not such a man. I am forged in the dust and sweat of this land. My schooling was the hunger of my people. My diploma was the liberation of my nation. My credentials are the scars on my hands and the resolve in my heart. I am not the product of your education. Your universities do not create leaders. They manufacture servants polished to look like masters, men who quote your philosophers but cannot speak the names of the elders who kept their villages alive. I have read your books, yes, but I have also read the sky when the rains failed. I have read the eyes of my soldiers as they returned from war. I have read the silent questions of my people when they wondered if the struggle was worth it. Your schools do not teach that. Your degrees cannot measure it. I am not the pet of your embassies. I do not travel to foreign capitals to kneel in gilded halls, to smile for cameras while signing away the lifeblood of my people. I do not seek your aid when your aid is nothing but a leash. I do not value your applause when your applause is given only to those who obey. You cannot call me with invitations and promises. You cannot threaten me with isolation, for a man who walks with his people is never alone. I am the son of a people who learned long ago that the law of the oppressor is nothing more than the chain of slavery polished to resemble gold. You call it law, we call it control. You call it justice, we call it domination, and we know it well. We have known it since the days when colonial governors issued decrees to steal our land. We have known it since the days when your courts punished us for speaking our own language, for gathering together, for daring to dream of freedom. You think you have changed because the chains now appear in contracts, because the whips now come as economic sanctions, because the prisons now take the form of political pressure. But the nature is unchanged, Judge Thomas. It is the same hand holding the chain, the same voice giving the order, the same arrogance that believes it can dictate the limits of our freedom. Do you know why your arrest warrant does not frighten me? Because I know it is not about justice. It is about reminding us of the place you believe we belong beneath you, obedient to you, grateful for your scraps. That place no longer exists for me. It no longer exists for Africa. We have burned it. We have erased it from the map of our destiny. And if you attempt to rebuild it with your courts, your laws, your threats, we will burn it again. You believe that because you can imprison bodies, you can imprison minds. But you cannot cage a mind that has tasted freedom. You cannot shackle a people who have seen the true face of their oppressor. I have seen it, Judge Thomas, and I will never unsee it. My people have seen it, and they will never again walk willingly into the grasp that holds their chains. Yes, you can issue your warrant. You can parade it before the world. You can raise it like a trophy among your allies. But to me, it is only another link in the chain of colonial arrogance. And I was born to break chains. You sit in your court with your wig, your books, your cameras, pretending to hold the world in your grasp, but what you hold is a lie. The law you claim to defend is a weapon of empire, an empire that plundered Africa for centuries and now pretends to teach us morality. You are no judge. You are an actor in a dying play, performing for an audience that has stopped applauding, pretending the spotlight still shines on you when the generator has already gone silent. You call me criminal because I refuse to bow to your commands. You call me dangerous because I speak the language of liberation. You call me a threat because I will not allow my people to be crushed. But the truth is this: it is you who are afraid. Afraid that the fire you see in Burkina Faso will spread to Mali, to Niger, to Congo, to South Africa, to every corner of this continent, until your courts are nothing but empty chambers gathering dust. Afraid that your arrest warrants will one day be laughed at by children who know their history, by leaders who owe you nothing, by nations that have cut the final string of dependence. You believe you can wield law as a weapon, but this time you have aimed it at the wrong target. Your law does not walk in our markets. Your law does not drink from our rivers. Your law has no home beneath our Sunday. When you write my name on your paper, it carries no weight here. It is a foreign tongue attempting to command a language it cannot pronounce. Understand this, Judge Thomas. Power is not in the ink you spill. It is in the people who refuse to obey. And here in Africa, we have reached that moment. You speak of human rights. Where were you when your government supplied the weapons that massacred our children? Where were you when mines owned by your corporations collapsed upon African workers? Where were you when puppet rulers stole billions while you smiled and clasped their hands? You dare to claim you are the guardian of justice, but every African knows your court is a wolf clothed in the robes of a priest. Let me tell you what your arrest warrant has achieved. It has not weakened me. It has not frightened me. It has not silenced me. No, Judge Thomas, it has awakened millions. It has shown them in black and white that the struggle we speak of is real, that when an African rises to defend his land, his people, his dignity, the colonial master will always come bearing chains. You believed you were humiliating me, but you have unmasked yourself. You believed you were isolating me, but you have united my people. You believed you were ending my influence, but you have multiplied it 1,000-fold. When the slaves of old fled the plantations, they were hunted, chained, beaten, yet they never stopped running. Today, the chains are legal documents, the beatings are sanctions, the hunts are arrest warrants, yet the spirit remains unchanged. We will keep moving forward, not in retreat from you, but toward our freedom, toward our destiny, toward the day when no African leader will feel the need to justify to the West why he chose to serve his people. I know your type. You are the kind of man who believes history began when Europe chose to record it. You believe your institutions are the summit of civilization. You cannot imagine a world where Africa stands on its own feet. And so, when we rise, you panic. You scramble to invent charges, to issue warrants, to intimidate, to divide. You cannot defeat us in the arena of ideas. So you attempt to drag us into a courtroom of your own making, where the jury speaks your language, where the rules bend to your interests, where the sentence is decided before the trial even begins. But this is where you miscalculated, Judge Thomas. Africa is no longer a courtroom where you can play God. It is a battlefield where the people themselves are the judges, the witnesses, and the executioners of history's verdict. And their verdict on you is clear. You are guilty. Guilty of arrogance, guilty of hypocrisy, guilty of trying to enslave a continent that has already shattered its chains. I will not come to your court. I will not acknowledge its authority. I will not dignify its hypocrisy by standing in your dock. If you want me, then come and take me. Come to the streets of Ouagadougou. Come to the villages where the soil has been fed by the blood of martyrs. Come to the markets where women sell food grown by their own hands. Come to the schools where children call my name, not because I am flawless, but because I am theirs. Come, Judge Thomas, and see if your paper can shield you from the will of a people who have had enough. Send your threats, send your envoys, send your soldiers. We will bury them all in the same earth, where we buried the idea that Africa belongs to anyone but Africans. You may control your court, but you do not control our hearts. You may draft your laws, but you do not write our destiny. Judge Thomas, your arrest warrant is not a weapon. It is a confession. It is proof that your system is afraid, that it is losing, that it cannot stop the tide. You thought you were summoning me, but in truth, you have summoned Africa. And we are here. We are awake, and we will never bow again. Keep your paper, keep your court, keep your titles and your robes. They are the relics of a dying order, the final ornaments of a system that no longer breathes. We have no use for them here. We have no use for laws, never written with our names in mind. For judgments carved long before we spoke a single word in your language. You hold them like treasures, but to us, they are only shackles polished until they gleam. A golden cage designed to make the prisoner forget his captivity. Justice does not wear wigs. The wigs you wear in your courts are relics from an age when men like you believed they could own the world. They are the costume of empire, the mask of colonial rule. You wear them as if they are crowns, believing they grant you wisdom, when in truth, they only reveal your foolishness. In Africa, justice has no need to cloak itself in the hair of the dead. Justice here walks barefoot, feels the soil beneath its feet, meets its people eye to eye, and speaks truth, without hiding behind costume or tradition stolen from another time. Our justice is in the hands of the farmer who refuses to sell his land to a foreign company. This farmer has never been taught in your universities. He has no degrees on his walls. He cannot quote your philosophers or legal scholars, but he knows a truth far greater. He knows the land is life. He knows that to sell it is to sell the breath of his children, the future of his community, the soul of his ancestors. Such knowledge cannot be bought, cannot be threatened, cannot be buried beneath legal jargon. That farmer, standing in his field with a hoe in his hand, is a greater defender of justice than all your courts combined. He will not bend. And when you come for him with contracts and promises of wealth, he will send you away with the same words his fathers used before him. This land is not mine to sell. It belongs to those yet to come. Our justice is in the fists of the young man who refuses to join the army of an oppressor. This young man is no soldier by training, but he is a warrior by spirit. He knows that to wear your uniform is to carry the flag of his own enslavement. He knows that your wars are not his wars, that your enemies are not his enemies, that your victories will never be his victories. And so, when you try to recruit him, to lure him with pay, to promise him a seat at your table, he will tell you, I will fight, but not for you. I will fight for my people. I will fight for my land. I will fight for the right to wake up tomorrow as a free man. You are not. You are not confronting a man. You are confronting a tide. And tides do not bargain with the rocks in their path. They break them, they erode them, they swallow them whole. You sit in your chambers believing you are the architect of order, but you are nothing more than an instrument, a mouthpiece for powers too afraid to show their faces. You sign their documents. You echo their decrees. You dress their ambitions in the language of law and justice. But understand this, you are the robe, not the ruler. Without their whispers in your ear, you are nothing more than a man in a costume holding a hammer and pretending it is a sword. And to those handlers, those in embassies, boardrooms, and intelligence offices, understand this. Africa is not yours to manage. We are not your laboratory, your extraction site, your military testing ground. You imagine you can move pieces here like pawns on a chessboard, removing leaders who defy you, installing puppets who will sign away our future. You imagine you can cloak your exploitation behind NGOs, development projects, and court rulings. But we see you. Every African who has watched their resources stolen while foreign companies grow rich sees you. Every community displaced by your mining projects sees you. Every child who drinks from a poisoned river sees you, and we will not forgive. You believe history stands with you. You cling to the illusion that the structures you built will endure forever. But history is not written in marble courtrooms. It is written in the blood and sweat of people who refuse to surrender. And history has already turned against you. You should know that every move you make now feeds the fire you claim to fear. Your warrant has become a banner of resistance. Your threats have become our rallying cries. Your name, Judge Thomas, is now bound to the arrogance of those who believe they can police the free. Your handlers should know their strategy has failed. They have not weakened Africa, they have exposed themselves. So, here is my final word to you and to those you serve. We will not come to your court, but your court will one day come to ours. And when it does, you will find no wigs, no robes, no hollow rituals, only the plain, unvarnished truth of your crimes and the judgment of a people who have risen beyond your reach. When that day arrives, do not ask for mercy, you gave none. Do not ask for understanding, you earned none. Do not expect your titles to protect you, they will be stripped away, and you will stand bare before the verdict of history. And history, Judge Thomas, has already ruled. You have lost. You have begun something you cannot finish, and when history recalls this moment, it will not speak of your warrant, it will not speak of your court. It will speak of the day an African stood, looked the empire in the eye, and said, "No more." And from that moment onward, the world was never the same.